and Saquon Barkley is the best running back and one of the best weapons in all of football. That is what you saw again last night against the Rams on national TV. And I mean, really, it was much more than that. Saquon Barkley, what we're watching right now is, if you remember back to a couple of his performances against the Eagles when he was a Giant, where he would take like a wheel route and accelerate and run past everybody and turn it into a huge gain, or is running. We knew Saquon Barkley was talented. I don't think we remembered how talented he was, or we ever really saw his talent, because he was playing for the Giants. He was playing for a team that didn't have a great offensive line, didn't have great quarterbacks, didn't have great talent around him. Well, he's got all that right now, and he's the team's best player. 302 yards last night, 255 rushing yards, 26 carries for 255, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 over 70, 4 receptions, 47 yards, 302 total yards, a league-leading 1,649 scrimmage yards, on pace for 2,151 rushing yards, which would be an NFL record. Now, the last time I said this, I started off by saying apologies to Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry was going through a stretch that was amazing. But this time, there's no apologies to Derrick Henry. Saquon Barkley is the best running back in football. The Eagles' decision to sign him, not only to sign him, but to target him. It's one thing if you had interest and you wanted to see how the market played out and it said, you know what, it's a pretty good value. That's not what the Eagles did. The Eagles targeted Saquon Barkley as the guy they wanted to bring in as their biggest piece in the offseason. This after the team totally crumbled and collapsed from a 10-1 start last year. They said, how do we get Jalen Hurts being back to the Jalen Hurts that helped take us to the Super Bowl in 2022? You add a running back like Saquon Barkley, and you run your offense through him. That's what the Eagles have done this year. It's the best decision of the NFL, in the NFL. Signing Saquon Barkley is the best decision that any team has made in the NFL from this past offseason. You should now also be making a case for Saquon to win the MVP, as we mentioned. And honestly, ask yourself this question. Who in football has had a bigger impact on their team? It's usually the quarterback with the biggest numbers and the most wins. That's who's normally the MVP. Jared Goff has been great this year. He's not the MVP. Lamar Jackson, he can't beat the Steelers. I'm sorry, I'm not giving him another MVP if he can't make it to a Super Bowl and he can't beat the Steelers. And by the way, the Ravens have 4 losses. Pat Mahomes, great player, not having a great year. Chiefs are great. Josh Allen's the favorite to win it, and he's been absolutely fantastic. But for a non-quarterback to win the MVP, it has to be more than just a special season, which Saquon Barkley's having. It has to be historic. Ladies and gentlemen, Saquon Barkley's having a historic season. The last non-quarterback to win the MVP was Adrian Peterson back in 2012. He was having a historic season. Saquon's on pace to break the NFL rushing record and is clearly the best player on the team.
We all silly like the mayor.